So as the light is coming down through the atmosphere, it is going to be spread through diffusion. Another thing that can happen is refraction. And refraction is just a fancy word for bending. Now, this light bending, reflection we'll talk about in just a moment. So that light hitting the top of the cloud and then bouncing right back off, we'll talk about that in a moment. That's going to be more reflection. Refraction is some other interesting things that heat will do, water droplets will do, all sorts of neat things are going to be bending around light. So let's take a look at a few examples. Let's say that we're on a road trip and we're driving down the road, and we are here in our cool sports car. This is going to be really nice, beautiful sports car here. Okay. Beautiful. And let's see, there's the hood. And yeah, there. And let's see, I'm right here. And I'm smiling because I'm happy to be in the car that is half blue. Okay, so we're driving down the road, and sometimes, especially out there in the desert. Are we in the desert? We are. Okay. Oh, well, obviously, we're in the desert now because we have cactus. Okay, good. A little swirl cactus. Okay, good. So we're driving along in the desert, and we see something that looks really, really weird. Actually, what we see is out over in the road. It looks like the road has a big old puddle in it. We're like, wait, we're out in the desert. Oh no, it's a flash flood coming across. No, it isn't, because we keep driving along. We go, okay, cool, we're in our car. It's not going to be that big of a deal. And then that isn't there, but we see it further down the road. Here's what's happening to our poor eyes and to the road. You see, we are in, I'm going to do a black sports car this time. Right, we're in our little car, and the light energy from the sky. Now, what does that look like? It looks like it's reflecting. It looks like water reflecting the light that is there on, that's coming down, right? So the light energy, it looks like that light energy is coming down, reflecting off of there. Well, here's what's happening. It is really hot out there on the pavement. And so that heat is radiating up as long wave heat energy. Okay, so this long wave heat energy is coming up. We're still happy because we're out on a road trip, and who wouldn't be, right? So the light energy is actually coming down. Oh, it's shortwave, sorry. It's coming down, and it hits this heat energy. Now, you'll see the same thing looking across the top of the toaster, but this light energy comes down. It hits this long wave, and that heat energy bends the light. Okay, and bending we also know as refraction. So refraction. And that light energy then bends and comes and hits us. Now, we look at it out on the road like, oh, there's a wet spot out there. But no, it's really just the light energy that is bouncing off the surface, that's bouncing from, that's being bent by that heat energy. What do we call this? We call this a mirage. A mirage is refraction of light. Okay, now there's one other really cool thing that we see out there in our environment sometimes, and this is going to be what happens with light when it goes into a raindrop. Now, a lot of times we like to think that raindrops come down like this, right? That they have that little drop there. Water likes to stick to itself, so when it is coming out of your faucet, it usually is going to be like that. So this being your faucet, it's going to have that little drip. Or if it's rolling down your cheek, it's going to be shaped like that. But water, as it's floating through the air, as it's floating as rain droplets, the air is swooping around it. And so it's keeping pretty darn close to a perfect glob. a perfect circle. Can't you see my perfect circle there? Wonderful. So this perfect circle is coming along. And when we get a little bit later in the day, maybe the sun is coming down. I'm sorry, the sun is heading down a little bit, or that storm is passing on. And this rain droplet is falling through the sky. Okay. What's going to be happening is the light energy as white light, and I know I'm using red, and I'm probably confusing you, but white light from the sun, right, with all of the waves together, that light energy is going to be coming in, and it hits this droplet. Okay, when it does that and it crosses this little guy right here, when it goes through that rain droplet, we get some bending that starts to happen. So it bends or refracts. Refraction. Okay. And then the other thing that it starts to do is it breaks apart into the color spectrum. Now, I haven't gotten all my pens together, but it's going to be red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. And it's going to be reflecting off of the back of this droplet. And then it's going to be red, orange. Wait, which one was red? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. And it's coming this way. And then it even bends again as it's coming out through this side of it. And so we get refraction. Once again, coming that way. And so what do we get? We're going to be getting this whole different colors coming out of this one little droplet. Okay? So we have our red, and we're going to have our, oh, I think I know where orange is. Oh yeah, here's orange. Orange. Yellow, which I probably should have drawn in a different color. I'll outline it. There we go. Yellow, red, orange, yellow, green. Blue. And then there's indigo or violet or whatever you want to call it. To me, it's all purple. So don't have a narrow one. We'll use the big old fat one for purple. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. Roy G. Biv. Wait. That should be violet then. Okay, so that's what's happening with the individual rain droplet. Now, what happens when you get a sky full of these guys? Right? Now, if you could picture this, right? Where's our eyeball in comparison to this? So, where'd refraction go? Good. So if our eyeball is right down here, and we're looking... If our eyeball is right down here and we're looking up at this rain droplet, then that one's going to look kind of red. If the droplet is different, let's say the droplet is over here, then compared to our eye, then we're going to be seeing green coming out of there. And if it's a little bit lower, then we're going to be seeing purple coming out of there. And so, depending on where we're standing with our eyeballs looking up at the rainbow, then what we're going to be seeing is we're going to be seeing some droplets that are further up there, and those droplets are going to be looking red to us. And then the ones below there, if I can still find all my pens, the ones below there are going to be looking orange, red, orange, and then, yeah, there's going to be those yellow ones that you're not going to be able to see anyway. Yellow, okay, right? So orange and yellow and green. All from refraction, right? Green and blue and purple. And blue and purple. Good. And so what's it going to look like there? It's going to look like this little strip. But if we could figure out, if I could make it all 3D, then what we'd be seeing is we'd be having this angular direction. So it looks like a whole arch going this way and that way of the purple. And then just above it of blue and green. And this is going to be our rainbow. Okay? So as we go back to refraction or bending, we're going to have a mirage is going to be an example, and a rainbow is going to be an example. And that we talked about in our previous video. Good. And so with our refraction, we're going to have refraction taking place because of heat, which gives us a mirage, and it's going to be taking place in the individual water droplets that are going to be giving us a rainbow.